Good morning, children. Today we will study the next part of the history lesson, Jainism and Buddhism. In part 3, we will study the spread of Jainism, impact of Jainism on Indian culture, sources of Jain history, decline of Jainism, sects of Buddhism, and impact of Buddhism on Indian culture. So children, let us begin. The spread of Jainism. Mahavira organized the Sangha to spread his teaching of Jainism. Both men and women were admitted to the Sangha. It was dedicated work of Sangha which helped him to spread his teaching to religions like Magad, Kushalas, Champa, Mithila and many other places. By the 1st century BC, Jainism had spread to areas of Orissa, Rajasthan and the large parts of Gujarat. The Jain monks established monasteries at all these places. The Mauryan Emperor Chandragupta Maurya and the royal dynasties like the Chaukalyas, Rashtrakutas and the other patronized Jainism soon. Merchants and businessmen became the patent of the Jainism in drawing goods of India. Impact of Jainism on Indian culture. Jainism made a great contribution to the political, social, religious and cultural life of India, some of which are as follows. Political life. Jainism emphasized the doctrine of non-violence or ahimsa. When the Kshatriyas accepted the faith, they gradually lost their fighting spirit and became the peace lovers. This made the country vulnerable to foreign invasions which had an adverse impact of political life. Social life. Jainism did a matrimonious job of removing the evil of varnas or the rigid caste system. Jainism promoted and preached feelings of social unity and equality and doing good to others. All this had a positive effects on their life of people. Religious life. Jainism had a great impact on the evil practices of Hindu religion that existed in the Vedic society, as it preached ahimsa. Therefore, animal sacrifices came to a halt. It also denounced the hollow ritual and superstitions that existed in the Hindu society. Sources of Jain history. Sources of Jain history are the ones from which one obtains the knowledge of Jain history. They are mainly literary works like inscriptions and archaeological sources like antiquities of all types, buildings, monuments, coins and many other things. Literary works are the most profitable for the purpose of research. Jain themselves have tried to describe the history of their faith in the whole series of writings. Art and architecture. The Jains made ample use of art and architecture for the propagations of their religion. They built stupas that were made of stone, which they decked with finely carved pillars, gateways, stone umbrellas and railings. They constructed monasteries and cave temples carved out of rock. Some classic examples of Jain architectures are the Ellora caves in Maharashtra, Dilwara Jain temple at Mount Abu and Chittor Jain tower in Rajasthan. The huge statue of the Gomateshwars in Karnataka is known for its height, about 70 feet, and it's a grandeur. Jain literature. Jainism made a great contribution in the literary field also. The original teachings of Mahavira can be found in the 14 books called the Purvas, which were later transformed to 12 new books called Angas and Upangas. The 12 Angas were written in Prakrit, also called Ardhimagadi. Works of Jain scholars like Jinasena, Mahapurana and Bhadrabhavan, complications of the Kapila Sutra and many other works profoundly influenced the Jain literature in 6th to 4th century. Gradually, they also looked to Sanskrit. Decline of Jainism. With the passage of time, many followers of Jainism stopped propagating it. The major factors which led to the decline of Jainism are as follows. The main preaching of Jainism to lead an austere life was very difficult for the people to follow. Its rigid principles prevented people from embracing Jainism. Rise of Jainism coincided with that of Buddhism. Jainism was restricted to India and did not spread to foreign countries, mainly due to lack of efforts by the followers. With change in dynasties, Jainism failed to get support of the royalty. Although Jainism preached equality of men, it failed to eradicate the low and the high positions in society. With the division of Jain sects into the Gamras and Shvetambaras, social or religious works to the society suffered. Sects of Buddhism. During the deliberations of the 4th Buddhist Council, Buddhism split into two sects, Hinayana and the Mahayana. Hinayana. The term Hinayanas means leisure vehicles of salvation. Hinayana Buddhists are the staunch believers in the teaching of the Buddha. It denies the existence of God, holds that the Eightfold Paths is the only means of salvation, and that Buddha attained the enlightenment of Nirvana through his own effort. Mahayana. The term Mahayana means the greater vital of salvation. According to Mahayana, the Bodhisattvas are the holy Buddhists who had not yet attained Nirvana like the Buddha, but were proceeding rapidly towards it. Worship of the Buddha and the Bodhisattva became an important component of Mahayana Buddhism. Impact of Buddhism. Buddhism has profound influence on Indian art, culture, religion, literature and philosophy. Religion. With the arrival of Buddhism, the people got an alternative to Hinduism. Buddhism was devoid of complicated ceremonies, sacrifices and rituals. The Hindus started reforming religions and its former purity was restored to a great extent. The Mahayana Buddhists brought change in adopting practices of idol worship of Buddha and Bodhisattvas and erected many ideals and temples in their honor. Following this, Hindu who worship in the open also started constructing temples for worshipping the gods and goddesses. Social life. Buddhism exposed the Vedic society weakness and promoted intellectual traditions. They were very concerned about the deprived sections of the society who had suffered social injustice. Buddhism aimed at the upliftment and the betterment of the downtrodden people of society. Political life. Buddhism had reached out to the emperors like Chandragupta and Ashoka who gave up their violent lives. Culture. Buddhism propagated to far-flung places like China, Southeast Asia and Sri Lanka. This helped in building ties between various countries and India and between various cultures. It also helped in boosting India's prestige. Education. Buddhist contribution is most notable in the areas of education. The Buddhist monasteries were converted into important centers of learning. A number of scholars of these monasteries taught Buddhist scriptures, philosophy, logic, astronomy and medicine. Gradually, these centers of education developed into renowned universities in Takshila, Nalanda and Vikramashila. These universities drew attention of many students from abroad. Okay children, I will advise you to go through the topics studied today from your textbook also. I will also advise you to do the question answers in your history exercise copy related to these topics. Have a good day.